Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack the knowledge you need from the latest research. And today we're looking at a huge paradox in global development.
A huge one. We're talking about African agriculture.
Exactly. You have this situation where over 60% of the workforce is in farming,
Right. The majority of people.
yet less than 10% of smallholder farmers use any kind of mechanization. I mean, they're still using hand tools.
And that just throttles everything. It caps yields and it keeps people locked in poverty.
So for our deep dive today, we're looking at a really fascinating solution, an ag tech company called Hello Tractor.
Yeah, people often call it an Uber for tractors, but
Yeah.
honestly, that description doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just an app.
It's an entire ecosystem. And that's our mission for today, to really unpack their business model, the pivots they had to make, and the lessons learned in solving this massive coordination failure for millions of farmers.
Let's do it.
So maybe let's start with the problem itself. What does it actually mean on the ground, this lack of mechanization?
I mean, the impact is just catastrophic. And it really all comes down to time.
Time, as in things are just too slow.
Painfully slow. Manual labor means farmers can't prepare their land fast enough. They miss the optimal planting window.
And missing that window by even a couple of wents can devastate your yield, right?
It can cut it dramatically, which means less income and less money to spend on good seeds and fertilizer for the next season. It's a vicious cycle.
And the problem doesn't stop once the seeds are in the ground.
Not at all. Post-harvest, you see huge losses because, again, it just takes too long to process and gather the crops by hand.
The end result being that African nations, despite having all this potential, import over $35 billion of food every year.
It's a staggering number.
So this begs the obvious question. If farmers need the efficiency so badly, why don't they just buy tractors?
Well, that's where you hit the core structural barriers. First, financially, the equipment is just unaffordable for most.
And I imagine getting a loan is next to impossible.
Exactly. Banks see small farmers as incredibly high risk. So rural credit for a big asset like a tractor, it just doesn't exist.
And let's say you somehow manage to get one.
Then the logistical nightmare begins. Bad roads, no trained mechanics for hundreds of miles, you can't find spare parts. So the tractor breaks down and just sits there, rusting.
So you have all this demand on one side, and on the other you have some tractors that are sitting idle, owned by bigger farms or entrepreneurs.
Precisely. A total coordination failure. And that's what Hello Tractor saw. They realized the problem wasn't a total lack of tractors, but a lack of linkage,
A missing market.
a missing market. So their whole value proposition was creating an efficient, reliable, and affordable market for these services.
And the impact is huge. We're talking about preparing land something like 40 times faster than by hand.
40 times faster and often at about a third of the cost per acre. It's transformational.
Okay, so that's the promise. How do they actually deliver it? Let's get into the mechanics of the solution.
Well, it's a multi-layered system, but the digital core is their mobile marketplace. It connects the farmers to the tractor owners.
And the linchpin of that system is the little piece of hardware that makes any tractor a smart tractor.
Right, the IoT tracking device. Every tractor on the platform gets fitted with one.
And its purpose is more than just showing where the tractor is on a map.
Oh, much more. It serves a crucial dual purpose that's all about risk and trust. For the tractor owner, it's security. They can see where their very expensive asset is at all times, which reduces their fear of it being misused or even stolen.
Okay, that makes sense. Peace of mind for the owner.
And for the platform, and this becomes critical later for financing, it's an objective data recorder. It tracks acres plowed, hours worked. It builds a verifiable performance history.
Invaluable data. But they must have realized pretty quickly that a purely digital app wasn't going to work for everyone.
Absolutely. You can't just drop an app in a rural area with limited smartphone use and spotty internet and expect it to take off.
So they needed a human touch.
They needed a human layer. And that layer is the community-based booking agents.
These are local people on the ground.
Usually tech-savvy young people from the community. They're trained to be the intermediaries, the trust builders.
And their most critical job is something called demand aggregation, right?
That is the absolute key to making the economics work. Think about it. A tractor owner can't afford to drive 50 miles just to plow one little acre. It's not profitable.
Right.
So the agent goes around and bundles dozens of small requests together. They turn 50 scattered one-acre jobs into a single profitable 50-acre booking.
Which completely changes the calculation for the tractor owner. Suddenly, that trip is worth making.
Exactly. And the agents build that local trust. They speak the local language, they earn a commission, they're the face of the company. A farmer can even just send an SMS to an agent to book a service.
So you have the digital layer with the IoT and the human layer with the agents.
And then there's the third layer, the physical one, the community tech hubs.
These are actual physical locations, like a
Okay.
service center.
A one-stop shop, really. They were designed to solve all the other problems a tractor owner faces after they get a booking.
So things like finding the right attachments for the job.
Yep. They have what's called an implement bank, a stock of different attachments, planters, harvesters, rippers for climate-smart tillage that owners can rent.
So one tractor can suddenly do many different jobs.
Multiplies its utility and the owner's income. And critically, the hubs tackle the maintenance problem. They have trained mechanics and they stock spare parts. No more tractors sitting idle for months.
And I saw in the sources they have a fix now, pay later system.
Yeah, which is brilliant. It recognizes that owners might be cash poor right at the start of the busy season, so they help them stay operational when it matters most.
It's such a holistic view of the problem. They even provide things like advisory services and post-harvest storage.
It's all about being an orchestrator, not just an app.
But this well-oiled machine didn't just appear overnight. Let's talk about the big pivot, because their first idea actually failed.
It did. It was a really tough lesson for them. Back in 2014, their model was to import and sell their own low-cost, two-wheeled mini tractors that came with the GPS device already installed.
So they started out as a hardware company.
They did. But they ran into major headwinds almost immediately. A recession, currency depreciation.
Yeah.
It made their imported tractors way too expensive for the local market.
And the equipment itself wasn't always a great fit, I gather.
Right, sometimes it just wasn't tough enough for the local soil conditions. The model was broken.
So the pivot.
By 2017, they made the shift, a really decisive one. They got out of the hardware game entirely.
And it became a pure software and services provider.
Exactly. They opened the platform up to any tractor owner. It didn't matter if you had a brand new John Deere or a 30-year-old Massey Ferguson. If it ran, you could be on the platform.
That must have been liberating. It freed them from all that capital cost and inventory risk.
Totally. It let them focus on what they do best, coordination and data.
And that data focus is what led to their most innovative value capture model, right? The financing.
Yes. The pay-as-you-go financing programs. This is where that objective data from the IoT device becomes so powerful.
Explain how that de-risks the loan for a bank. Because, as we said, lending to rural farmers is seen as super risky.
Well, the IoT data provides constant verifiable proof that the asset, the tractor, is actually working and generating revenue.
I see. So the bank isn't just relying on a promise. They can see the hours worked, the acres plowed.
They can see the income being generated in real time, all driven by the demand aggregated on the Hello Tractor platform. It completely changes the risk profile.
And the results.
The loan repayment rates are reported to be above 98%.
Wow.
It's incredible. That data has unlocked millions of dollars in financing for rural entrepreneurs who would have been considered completely unbankable before.
The numbers are pretty staggering. Over 5.5 million acres of farmland served by 2025. Over 2.5 million farmers across more than 20 countries.
It scaled incredibly fast once they got the model right.
So what are the big lessons we can pull from this, the takeaways?
I think the first one has to be ecosystem orchestration. They understood this was a systemic problem that one single product couldn't solve. You had to bring everyone together. The owners, the agents, the banks, the mechanics. They became the central hub.
And lesson 2 is obviously about being willing to adapt.
Oh, absolutely. That pivot from hardware to software was crucial. They didn't cling to a failing idea. They listened to the market and focused on their core strength.
And the third lesson, for me, is about trust. The human element.
100%. The tech is great, but it's the booking agents and the physical hubs that build the last mile trust. Technology alone is never enough. You need that human connection.
And finally, the whole thing is a masterclass in what we call shared value.
It is. The company's success is directly tied to the success of its users. Hello, Tractor only makes money when tractor owners get work and farmers improve their yields. Profit and purpose are perfectly aligned.
So what's next for them? Where do they go from here?
Well, they're leaning even more into data. They're partnering with groups like the Rockefeller Foundation and Atlas AI to use satellite and weather data to actually predict where demand will be highest.
So they can position tractors proactively even before the season starts.
Exactly. And they're looking at expanding into other services like crop insurance or more advanced farm analytics, all powered by their data.
It's clear this whole deep dive shows how Hello Tractor managed to turn this huge, messy coordination failure into a really elegant, data-driven marketplace. All because they were flexible and really truly understood their customer.
And that data piece is so important. The way the IoT tracking provided proof of performance, it fundamentally changed how banks saw risk.
So as you take these insights forward, consider this. If objective, transparent data can fundamentally unlock capital flow for rural borrowers based on their verifiable ability to do a job.
It opens up so many possibilities.
Exactly. Where else could this model of data-driven de-risking be applied to low-income communities?
Mhm.
Where else are there hidden assets or untapped skills just waiting for a system that can make them visible and, well, bankable?
A powerful thought. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.